All right, guys, welcome back to the final round. My name is Jake, and today is going to be the big boxing weekend preview number 11. Not the biggest stacked weekend we have in boxing, but overall, pretty solid one to consider to be a big boxing weekend. So let's get right all into it. So I'll go over some of the smaller events of note. I want to shout out an event going on in Argentina on Saturday. Couple decent guys fighting. You got middleweight Lucas Brian Bastida taking on Brian Agustin Regui. Claudio Gabriel Danef. Uh, lost to a couple meh fighters in his past. He's taking on a really, not like the hottest prospect in the world, but definitely one of the better prospects in South America. Um, it's Nahul Alexandre Espindola. He's currently 11-0, 6-0 currently. He's 24 years old. Has a win over Javier Cardozo, who himself is a really good fighter. He's 10-1 currently, and he's also rising up in the ranks in South America. So both guys are pretty good. Espindola beat him by split decision back in July of this past year, and he's been fighting super active. Espindola, he turned pro in 2024, and he's had 11 fights, and he hasn't fought anybody great outside of Cordoza, but he's taking on a guy who's 24, 4-1, so it should be a good fight for him. All right, and then let's go to Canada. Got a couple decent fights on this card. Well, not really decent fights, but want to shout out two young women, Sarah Bailey and Melinda Watpool. Young heavyweight Donnie Foreman is 3-0. A couple other guys here. So let's get to the main event. It is Mark Smither, 14-2, decent. He calls himself Marvelous Mark Smither. Don't ever do that, bro. Sorry, you're not marvelous. You're not Marvin Hagler. He's got 2 losses. None of them are really any good, to be honest. But he's had his entire career in Canada, and local Canadian fighter, not too bad. The guy he's fighting against, Bradley Wilcox. Let's see. Wilcox is 14-0 himself, 31 years old. He's a pretty decent. Fights out of Hamilton, Ontario. Pretty decent guy. 7-0, 14 knockouts. Just beat Jordan McNaughton. Another fighter from Calgary, who is 9-1 himself. Beat him for the IBF North American welterweight title. And yeah, so should be a good fight, or should be a decent Canadian card. All right, let's moving on. Okay, so I don't know where we were. I got caught up watching more John Fury videos. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's go to Waterfront Hall in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Jamie Conlon has got himself a good card together. It's not terrible. I mean, a lot of his young guys fighting during a minute makes sense, obviously. There's 2 of them I want to mention. Jack O'Neill, good fighter, 5-0. Matthew Borland, he's 6-0, not too bad. There's a couple decent people up here. Um, there's one guy, is Jake Pollard, by the way. He's apparently a fighter. His record is 1-103, and his one win came in 2023 against Lewis Smithson. That is awesome. That is great. Just wanted to say that. It's guys like that who keep the sport alive. Honestly, honestly, dude. It is. Um, yeah. Oh, oh, hey man, Patty Gallagher's coming back. Hey, Patty Gallagher's back. Holy shit! I didn't know. Wow, he hasn't fought since 2019. Holy shit! I was say I remember that Wayne. Or I remember that name. He fought. Yeah, yeah. He was a part of the Prize Fighter tournament in 2014. Yeah, he lost to Johnny Cole in the welterweight final. He fought Tony Dixon, Tamuka Mucha. Oh yeah, he was okay. Uh, yeah. Fought Gary Murray. Yep, he lost to Brad Solomon. Uh, yeah, that was a 5 judge fight. I remember that. Lost to Freddie Kawit. He's still the WBF world champion. WBF bullshit. So funny. Yeah. And they fought Chris Jenkins 20. Oh, man. That's good, man. I'm glad that Patty Gallagher's back. Yeah, good for him. I didn't know he was even on this card. Good for him, man. I didn't think there was this many fights on the card, at least last I checked. So, all right, cool. Should be a good card. So, let's head to. Actually, on the Manny Pacquiao's promotions has a card going on. Unfortunately, his Manny Pacquiao's son, Pacquiao Jr., had to pull out. I don't think they found him an opponent. Not. I mean, want to shout out obviously one guy. All young boxing guys know Colonel Moten. Obviously, one of Floyd's proteges, Colonel Moten. He's currently 8-0, 6 knockouts. He's young. He's 19 years old, and everyone's kind of following his rise. Um, I got to be honest. It is the end of his career. Yeah, at the his third fight, he fought a guy named Anthony Cuba. Mentioned him before on the show. He's a pretty solid. He's a good fighter. Anthony Cuba's good. He's 21-1-2. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's solid. I don't think that Cuba's ever going to fight for a world title, but I said this about him on this channel. I think Anthony Cuba's going to be a mid-level contender at best. He's a good fighter. So for him to beat him is impressive. His third fight when he was what 17 when he turned pro. Yeah. So I mean he's good, man. Uh, yeah, this is probably his best opponent, Wilfredo Flores. He's 12-6-1. I mean I say best opponent. His best opponent is probably still Anthony Cuba, but Flores isn't bad. He is 36. He's a 12-6-1. As fought, he beat Terrell Bostic, decent guy. Uh, Lost to Brandon Gorham. Got knocked up by Gary Cully. So he's beat Victor Betancourt Jr. He's not a terrible fighter, not bad. So definitely a good fight for Kermit. And then you have Bryce Mills taking on Tobias Green for the WBC Silver Super Lightweight title. Green has not fought in almost 2 years, really. Um, he had a win against Jason Velez, longtime journeyman guy. And Bryce Mills is himself 21, 24 years old, good fighter. Hasn't really fought anybody of real note, so definitely for him a good solid fight. Who was his one loss to? To a bum. Okay. So yeah. So then the main event it is Elijah Pierce, 21-2 versus Lorenzo Parra. Pierce 21-2 as I mentioned, 29 years old. He's beaten guys like Tremaine Williams, Martha Villanueva, Michael Dasmarinas, who's decent guy. His two losses came to Suleiman Sagawa, very good fighter. Unfortunately, he just lost to Rene Palacios, which was. I'm happy for Palacios, but I wanted Sagawa to win. And then Giovanni Cabrera is the other, who was a good fighter, is the other guy on there who lost to. And then Lorenzo Parra himself, he's 23-1-1. He's 31 years old, good, solid Venezuelan guy. His one loss came to another Venezuelan guy, and he recently had a draw with Mr. Omar Trinidad, the Trinidad show. Omar Trinidad, who has made his debut in Zuffa against Max Ornelas So, yeah, so, good stuff for Parra. If I had to go with, I'll probably go Pierce, but we'll see. All right, so that's that card, and let's head to the box rec card. Good, solid box rec, Pro Box TV card. Jesus Christ, I'm getting tired. Ah, muddle. So we got a pretty good Pro Box TV card. There's a lot of, not terrible fights, but not. So you got light heavyweight Jaden Franklin, Britain, 7-0, fighting. Damlo Scott taking on Polk Yaquez, two guys from Texas. I actually saw a little interview at them in a Texas gym, and they're like, and the guy was like, "Hey man, we're getting on in Texas. We're getting on, right?" It's just very, very Texas talk type thing. So we'll see. Should be a decent fight, that one. Oh wait, is there more? Is there more fights? Yeah, fights are being added to half these cards. I'm not even seeing it. Damn, here we go. All right, yeah. Joseph Maji taking on Alex Farrell. Javier Guerrero Cruz. Uh, Ranulfo Bosen Negra. I want to shout out one welterweight by name Alex Holly. He's 10-1, 24 years old. Hasn't really fought anybody of note, so I think we just kind of fight bums, always learning. But is a guy who I like watching when I've seen him. Emilio Garcia, Hugo Mendez. He's 6-0. Uh, Figo Ramirez. He's got a mad fighter, but not too bad. One fight that's going to be good is Javier Bosanegura. He's currently 9-0, good fighter, 22 years old. He's taking on Malik Lewis, who is 8-2, but isn't a bad fighter. He's not bad, Malik Lewis. Lost to decent guys, so. And then the co-main, Gramardi Machuca taking on Edward Vasquez. this fight should be, this should be a solid fight. Um, Vasquez, he's a good fighter, man. Vasquez is solid, really solid, man. I mean, his first loss came to Raymond Ford. He beat guys like Irving Gonzalez, Madonna Choa, Brandon Cruz on his come up, and then lost Raymond Ford 2022. Sort of gave his all in that one, and then beat Misael Lopez, Brian De Gracia, and then went to Monte Carlo in 2023 to fight Joe Cordina for the IBF super featherweight title. He lost a close fight, a fight that he gave really all he had. I mean, he gave everything he had in that fight, and he lost by majority decision. I remember watching that fight, and I did think he lost. It was close though. It was a close fight. Uh, beat Daniel Bailey, beat Kenneth Taylor, and then fought for Rafael Espinosa's WBO World Featherweight title back in May of 2025, so almost a year ago. And he was stopped in round 7. Yeah, pretty much. I haven't seen that fight, but I'm sure he was getting beat. So, but still, just to even be in there with Espinosa. Was that Espinosa's last? I think that was the last fight. No, he fought. No, yeah, he fought Marlon Kagai at the end of this year. There's a decent Ukrainian fighter. Yeah. Okay. Uh, and then we go to Gramardi Machuca. 17-3 himself. Good Venezuelan guy. Is coming off of 3 straight losses against Pablo Vicente, Brandon Pizarro, and Deontay Brown. Outside that has his fun, mostly journeyman, so expecting him to probably get beat by Vasquez, so we'll see. And then in the main event, Luis Lopez, 16-2-4. Luis Lopez he's a good fighter, man. He's not bad. I mean, he's not great, but he's not bad. Um, I draw last time against Adrian Vargas last time out. And he's taking on Ruben Eduardo Aguilar. Melpolito. He's 23-0. He's 23-0-1, 20 knockouts. Big, tall welterweight, 6 feet, pretty big for a welterweight. He's good. He's young. He's 25, but he's taking his time in his craft. I mean, he turned pro in 2018. Obviously, when he was 17 years old, like most Mexican guys. So he obviously just kept, and he's been building, and obviously most of these guys, he padded his record good, good, good. Um, wow, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Jesus Christ, I'm getting tired. Took on his first good opponent in Sergio Torres, who's 26-9-1. Not a good fighter, but still not terrible. Beat a couple other guys. Ended up taking on Ricardo Adanzas Rodriguez, which was a draw. And then has had a couple more fights. And then his last fight took on Misuf Kinda, who is 20 and 9. I think he was 27 at the time. Yeah, he was 27 at the time. Not a bad fighter. Not great. Not good, but he's okay. Um, so yeah, this is gonna be an interesting fight. I think that Louis Lopez is probably the best fighter that Aguilar's faced, but we'll see. Should be a good fight, and Aguilar, we'll see if he can progress. All right. There's that card. So let's go to the next one on the docket. So we head back to the UK for a Queensberry card. Headlined by Owen Cooper versus Konstantin Ursu. This is a decent card. It's not actually that bad of fights on here. I'm kind of looking forward to watching this one. Joe Cooper got a fight. Lasha Guruli, Georgian guy. He's obviously managed by Igis Klimas. Obviously, one of the who owns everybody in Europe pretty much. He's 2-0, so we'll see about him. Um, mm, and then Reese Litch taking on Dan Booth. Lewis Williams taking on Ben Vickers. Charlie Sr. Tony Curtis taking on a decent guy who's 21, 14, and 4. Ben Fail. That's actually his name. Ben Fail. Big Ben Fail. Come on, that's actually the guy's name. Ben Fail. But for the great fighter known as Ben Fail. You gotta change your name, mate. File or Flail. Ben Full. I don't know. That's weird. Ben Fail. Man, Ben Fail. That's crazy. He's taking on Mason Cartwright, 23, 4 and 1. Luke McCormack taking on King Gardner. Good fight. And then obviously the main event. You have Owen Cooper versus Konstantin Ursu for the vacant Commonwealth and British titles. So far, Ursu, obviously born in Moldova, has, it's like kind of an ape. He's a decent fighter. 14-0, has kind of built himself up over the time. Beat Lewis Booth 2024, stopped him in 2 rounds. Beat Ethan James in 7 rounds, and then took on Ryan Amos in his last fight, beating him by wide decision. And that is when he won the Commonwealth welter, even though I think apparently it's vacant already. And he's now taken on, and that when he won the WBO, I think he is already the Commonwealth champion, but gotcha. All right, let's go to the big one. All right, so we hit to Glendale, Arizona for one of the biggest fights so far of 2026. Live on Matchroom Boxing from Eduardo Herno. That's my fan name for now. Eduardo Hernio. Eduardo Hernio has put on an event, also known as Eddie Hearn, under the Arizona Boxing MMA Commission at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Sugar Nunez, also known as Eduardo Nunez, taking on Emanuel Navarrete for the unification for the IBF and WBO Super Featherweight Championships of the world to declare who will be the new King of Mexico. I didn't know the crown was up for grabs, but Canelo's kind of, when I say King of Mexico, the Mexican fans appreciate the lower weight fighters a little more. Obviously, they still love Canelo, but the new king, one of the new kings of Mexico could be crowned because Sugar Nunez is great. I'll go over the fight in a second. Let's go over the card real quick. Rahman Muhammad is the 1-0 fighter. Michael McFadden, Richard McFadden. 2 1-0 guys taking on each other. Philip Vela versus Brian Ramos Armenta. Hector Beltran. I actually like him. Hector Beltran. I've heard about this guy. Yeah, 6-0, 5 knockouts. He's taking on Cesar Diaz, who is from Peru. He's 10-1. It's not bad. So yeah. And then super lightweight prospect Trini Ochoa, currently 21-0. Is I'm 27. Good fighter, 21-0 fighter. Beat Francisco Cuadrado in his last fight. He's taking on Mr. Oscar Alvarez Guerrero, who's a 14-2 fighter. Good, solid guy. He's good. And then Arturo Cardenas, 17-0-1. Good fighter. Really, really solid. He's taking on Jordan Martinez, who himself is a really good undefeated fighter from Phoenix, Arizona. So homecoming for him. WBC Continental America Super Bantamweight title. And then one of the hottest prospects in all of boxing, Emiliano Vargas, 16-0, 13 knockouts. Was at the Super Bowl. Was in Zeas for Bad Bunny. Mel Hennerdal, 21 years old. Really, I mean, he's probably he's something special, guys. He probably is, and to see him with his father Verdana taking his shirt off. Fernando Jr. and all those guys, they're great. They're good fighters, but they're not as good as Emiliano. He's definitely the best of all the brothers for sure. And then he's taking on Magusto Ezekiel Quintana, who's not a bad guy from Argentina. He is a 22-2-1. Suffered a loss to Juan Javier Carrasco back in 2022. He's a good fighter. He's good. 29 years old. So we'll see how that fight goes. And then obviously, welterweight prospect Tahir Smalls, 16-0, 11 knockouts. Smalls is a pretty good fighter from Philadelphia. He's been doing pretty good recently. Beat Luis Alberto Veron. Had a couple, one easy fight, and then the last fight took on Jose Roman Vasquez, winning by decision. So he's a good fighter, and he's taking on former. He's got to step up because he's taking on former world title challenger Abel Ramos. Not an easy fight. I expect Smalls to win, but Ramos is not a bum. Yeah, he's 28, 6-3, and he hasn't fought since his draw to Mario Barrios 2024. But look at his resume. I mean, he lost to Regis Prograis. Talk about him tomorrow, probably. In 2015, lost to Ivan Baranchik, very good fighter in 2017, and a pretty good fight, good scrap. Lost to Jamal James in 2021, a fight that I thought he won. Beat a couple guys still for a little bit. Be an unknown guy in the Cheers bar in Tijuana, but beat Francisco Santana. Did suffer a very close fight to Miranda Suga, so he's been with some of the best guys. Like had a great win. Had a great win over Omar Figueroa Jr., who following that fight fought Lebanon's and fought again. Beat the crap out of Figueroa, and then lost to Luke Santamaria in the end of 2022. Lost to Cody Crowley, and then obviously had the fight with Barrios soon after that. So, yeah, he's a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. Let's not count out Ramos right away, but he's coming off a layoff, and so that might affect him. And then obviously the main event, Emanuel Navarrete versus Sugar Nunez. Oh, the promo was so good for this fight. Got me fired up. I don't know how I'm looking at it. I'm kind of seeing it Navarrete's way just because he's, 39, 2-1. He's got a lot more fights. But Nunez has got 30 fights himself. Nunez himself has been around the block for a little bit, obviously. 29-1 IBF champion. 28 years old himself. His one loss coming years ago to a guy named Haram Gallardo, who is not fighting anymore. But, he's been really been super good since like 2023 when he beat Jesus Seiza, and then obviously won the title vacant against beat Miguel Mariaga 2024, and then beat Masanori Murahishi for the IBF title, and then defended against Christopher Diaz-Velez. So it's not fought the greatest fighters, but it's a big step up against Navarrete. So we're really going to see if Sugar Nunez, because Navarrete's been around the fucking block, and he's only 31. I mean, he's fought in the who's who, suffered a loss, obviously, to a young fighter early in his career. In 2018, took on Isaac Dogbo in a pretty good close fight at MSG, winning it by decision to become the WBO super bantamweight champion. He then rematched with Dogbo and stopped him in the last round. Dogbo's corner threw in the towel. Defended it against Francisco Di Vaca, Juan Miguel Elorde, Francisco Horta, Gio Santissima. Sorry, Santissima. And then went up to featherweight and beat Ruben Villa for WO, so became a two-weight world champion. Beat Joe Gonzalez, Eduardo Baez, Liam Wilson, and then had a great win over Oscar Valdez in 2023 when Valdez was 31-1. And I mean beat him soundly. Beat Valdez soundly. He then took on Robinson Kasakiao and unfortunately was forced to a draw. Very close fight. I thought that Navarrete did enough to win, but it was very close. And then lost, and then went. He wins featherweight title against Baez, goes up to fight Liam Wilson for the WBO super featherweight, becomes a three-weight world champion. Then beats Valdez. Then has draw against Kasakiao. Goes up to lightweight to try to become a four-division world champion, and gets beat to shit by Dennis Berinchik. And gets beat badly. And that's why Keyshawn Davis's fight was really impressive to him. And the fight with Brinchick was, a split decision. I say he got beat bad. It wasn't that. But still, he lost. He then fought Oscar Valdez again and knocked him out in the sixth round. And then in his last fight, unfortunately, accidental headbutt caused a technical decision. And then for some reason changed it to a no contest against Charlie Suarez, Filipino fighters. So, yeah. Yeah. What am I seeing here? What am I looking at? Okay. Yeah, so takes on Sugar Nunez. We'll see. It's gonna be an interesting fight. I feel like, honestly, I just hope it's a war. I hope it's a great Mexican back and forth war, and that's really all I want. Like a Barrera Morales. And I think Meltorible Morales. I don't know if he trains Nunez, but he's definitely around him. So hopefully he can inspire these guys to have a great war. So we'll see. I am very, very excited for this fight. Definitely going to be watching for sure. All right, guys. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. This was the Big Boxing Weekend preview number 11. And stay tuned for all the action this weekend. Obviously, use your UFC card as well in Mexico as well. Brandon Moreno will take on Laura Kavanaugh. And all the rest right there across the big sporting world. All right, guys. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. I am so tired. My name is Jake. And remember, the greatest fighters, like these two warriors, always leave it all in the final round. See you guys.